Drawing hair is for sure my favorite part of the sketching and coloring process. But as easy as it is to draw straight hair, all the difficulties come when it comes to drawing wavy or curly hair. It gets tricky. So today I'm coming to you with a video where I'm gonna explain all the details and little tips and tricks on how to draw wavy and curly hair through drawing different sort of hairstyles. So let's get into it. The first type of hair we're gonna be drawing today is this type of natural wavy hair. Not too thick of waves, but also still kind of natural and flowy. So we're starting off with the sketch, and here I'm trying to outline the general shape of the hairstyle. Here I'm definitely not focusing on particular strands of hair. I'm just focusing more on the general shape and outline of the hair. So here, once I'm done with the sketch, the rough outline, I'm quickly moving on to the coloring. And here for my base color, I'm picking this caramel / medium, a little bit reddish brown tone that I think will complement the wavy structure of this hairstyle very well. And here a very important tip when it comes to applying your base color. As you can tell, I'm not applying the color up until the edge of the outline that I did for the hairstyle. I'm leaving like 2-3 millimeters of the space between the actual sketch and the edge of the coloring, and that is because I'm gonna add a lot of extra hair volume, hair strands with color pencils and with the marker later on, but now I don't want to overdo the hairstyle. Once I'm done with the base color, I'm taking a brush nib of the same exact color, and here I actually suggest grabbing a marker that comes with a brush nib because that will make your hair coloring way easier and way more comfortable. So here already at this point with the same exact color and brush nib, I'm kind of following the waves of the hair. I'm putting a lot of emphasis and a lot of extra layers of color where I know that my hairstyle is gonna be a little bit darker, so around the neck area mostly. And then at the same time, also with the same marker, I'm already adding texture, a little bit of texture to the entire hairstyle, building up this sort of wave structure. And here the idea is to be very irregular and very loose with your sort of waves, because if you make them too regular, that's not gonna be natural. And after I have applied a little bit of structure to my hairstyle and a little bit of the waves created with the marker, I'm taking a color that is slightly darker and I'm going over the areas that will be the most shaded, and I'm adding a little bit of depth into my hairstyle. So now we're moving on to the part when all the magic happens, meaning adding texture and adding depth with color pencils. And here I'm grabbing a pencil that is similar to the color, the darkest color of the marker that I just used, and I'm basically enhancing the shading that I did. And also at this point, I'm trying to kind of form the waves even more. So with the darker pencil, I'm kind of enhancing the areas where the waves are bending. That obviously creates this sort of illusion and the three-dimensional effect that we're going for. And as you can tell, the curls right away look a little bit more bouncy and a little bit more natural and 3D-like. So that's what we want. And then with a pencil that is similar in tone to the base color that we've used, maybe slightly darker, I'm just enhancing what I did. And basically I'm going over the waves, the curls that I did, and I'm just trying to form them even more. So in the areas that the waves would naturally bend, I'm putting even more color there. And in the areas that they are kind of sticking out and that they get light, I'm kind of leaving those areas blank, so without much of products, materials added, they would appear more 3D-like. I really hope that makes sense. And then as my favorite finishing touch, with the same color pencils, I'm adding those loose hair strands all over the hairstyle. I think this step can really elevate your hairstyle and make it look more natural and more lifelike. And now I think it's the perfect time that I'm gonna give you my super secret tip on drawing hair in general. And this tip is super easy and effective. So what I like to do while coloring the hair is, instead of taking a fresh marker, I always like to gravitate towards the markers that are a little bit dry because they already create this sort of texture, hair-like texture, because the liquid in them, the alcohol in them, it's kind of already skipping a little bit on the tip, so you're gonna get this hair-like texture without any effort. So don't throw your half-dry markers, use them for your hair drawings. And I'm sure you're gonna thank me for this tip later. Let me know. Okay, so for the next hairstyle, we're gonna go for something a little bit more dense and a little bit more towards curly side. I'm gonna try to imitate like a medium type of curls. I'm really sorry, but I really don't know how to call like each type of hair because I know that they have particular names. But for now, let's just call it curls with sort of medium density, if that makes sense. Anyway, with this hairstyle, I'm starting it the exact same way as I did with my previous hairstyle. So I'm just outlining the general shape of the hairstyle, and then I'm moving in straight with the color. And here I want my hairstyle to be black. I want to draw black hair. So on the contrary to the popular belief that drawing black hair is pretty much just taking straight up black color, I'm gonna use like a mid-tone gray. And I'm doing that just because it gives me way more possibilities to later add on top of it and manipulate between a huge variety of grayscale. So I would also advise you guys doing that instead of going in with a pure black color. And here I'm using the tip that I just told you about the half-dry markers. You can tell how beautiful of a structure it creates. It right away gives me the hair vibe, you know. I don't even need to put much effort into it because the structure, the texture is already there. And once I lay down my base color, I'm taking almost black marker, like a very deep dark gray color, and I'm building the shadow places, the darkest areas of the hairstyle. And with the brush nib, I'm already also creating the structure of the hair. And here, as opposed to the previous wavy hairstyle that we did, here in this one, the curls are gonna be much tighter, much more dense. So my moves with the marker are a little bit shorter and a little bit more curved, if that makes sense. And then once I do the coloring with the markers, I'm proceeding in with the color pencils. And here again, all the fun starts because with color pencils, I'm able to model the curls a little bit more and, you know, make them just hair-like. So I'm going in straight with the black pencil because at this point I have to deepen up the hairstyle. So I'm just taking black pencil and I'm just adding curls in a irregular manner. In the meantime, I'm also taking dark gray pencil and I'm trying to blend everything together, adding another layer of texture and hair-like frizziness. And then I'm just finessing it to the point I'm happy with it. So I'm going in between dark gray and black just to blend together the whole hairstyle, but still forming the individual curls on top of what I'm drawing. And then as the finishing touch, I'm obviously adding those little curls here and there just to make the hairstyle a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more natural and flowy. And for the third hairstyle, we're gonna go with the type of hair that I personally find quite difficult to draw, and it took me a little bit to practice the technique that I'm using now. And we're gonna be drawing the Afro hair type. So these are the curls that are very thick, dense, and just like bouncy in the way they look and in the way they feel. So we're gonna try to emulate that in our drawing. So right away with the coloring, my strokes here are gonna be a little bit different. And here I'm actually using the chisel nib. And ideally, I would also use a dry marker because that would give me the sort of texture that I'm going for, the sort of Afro hair texture. But here I had just a normal marker that was functioning well. So here the strokes that I'm gonna be doing with my marker while applying the base color are gonna be much shorter and much more dense in a way. Because when I was coloring the wavy hair, I did those sort of waves with my marker. And here I'm just doing those kind of scratch-like strokes. I really hope that my explanation makes sense. So anyway, I'm applying my base color like that just to have the general outline of the hairstyle, and then I'm moving in with slightly darker color. And here using the brush nib, I'm creating those curls. And this dark red marker was actually half dry, so you can clearly see how nice of a texture we're getting right away and how I'm actually using my own tip right now, which works really, really well. And then on top of that, I'm just gonna go in with color pencils with this medium red tone that I was using as my base color and slightly darker red to form my curls even more. And here I'm just going back and forth between both of these colors, and I'm just trying to form the curls, like I said. And here once more, you have to be irregular, you have to kind of find the balance. You kind of have to find a balance between making the curls look natural, but also not too messy in a way. It's really hard to explain that, but we want to get that volume and we want to get that bounciness of the hair and also the texture of it. And to finish this hairstyle off, you can see how I'm adding those little bouncy hairs here and there to make it just look more fun and more real. And yeah, now we're pretty much done. Alright you guys, and that will be all for my today's curly / wavy hair tutorial. Let me know which of the hairstyle was your favorite and which one did you find the easiest and the most difficult to draw. Let me know in the comments, and I'll be wrapping up for now. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye.